Okay. So what I wanted to do for this little presentation is I want us all to pretend we are Globe supporters here, but honest Globe supporters. I mean, let's not pretend we're the dishonest Wolfies, the dishonest Simon Dans, the Bob Your Science guy. And instead, let's say that we're all true and honest Globe supporters here as an intellectual exercise. Mm-hmm. But as genuine Globe supporters, we need to address the fact that flat earthers have made a whole bunch of amazing scientific and historical discoveries. And for instance, in this BMLS B69 has been going out there and doing these, the so-called black swan. He did these videos showing that the horizon is much further than is possible under the globe. So we globe earthers have had it wrong for thousands of years, that there is no geometric horizon. And the flat earthers were able to discover that this horizon now appears to be an apparent horizon that can appear anywhere. And so anyway, I just thought that was an amazing discovery by the flat earthers that they were able to do this. One of the other discoveries that the flat earthers made is that the horizon does actually rise up with the observer as they gain elevation. Another thing that we globe earthers thought that was impossible. We also one of the things the flat earthers discovered was that nature has no other purpose than it seems to trick us that we live on a ball. I mean, we absolutely, without question, see too far. So for whatever reason, nature automatically creates this false illusion that the Earth is flat, and the Earth has some unknown magical refractional properties that enable us to see forever on this flat Earth. And again, this new refractional properties that the flat earthers discovered. I mean, we should be celebrating flat earthers for this new amazing discovery. Another one I wanted to talk about, this discovery of flat earthers, is that hair in space strangely does not appear to flow like it does in normal zero G gravity. It's static. It's still. It looks like the bride of Frankenstein. So again, the flat earthers discover something amazing. I mean, I don't know how much it's going to help science, but at least for your hairdressers, zero space somehow makes your hair look like bride of Frankenstein. I think that's another amazing discovery from the flat earthers. Another interesting thing about what the flat earthers discovered is that we really don't need to test complex machinery anymore. Like the International Space Station, for example, they never actually put the whole thing together, run it through engineering tests or anything like that, pressure tests. None of that actually had to happen. They just had to, create separate pieces and then put them up in space. We don't, engineers need to understand this, that we don't need to actually go out and test things anymore. We just need to, have NASA put its stamp on it, and we know for a fact it'll work every time and there'll never be a problem with it. So another amazing discovery for the flat earthers. A few of the other things that flat earthers have discovered is that, for example, is that everything seems to wrap around the curvature, like radar. Radar wraps around the curvature. Sonar wraps around the curvature. Humpback whales can communicate around the curvature. I mean, who knew that until the flat earthers came around and told us that, wow, humpback whales can communicate 4,000 miles around the curvature. I mean, thank heavens for flat earthers. Who would have thought, like the Loran system, that the navigational systems like that they can operate without curvature? I mean, I never knew that until the flat earthers came around. What about VHF beams also wrap around the curvature? I mean, we all thought that they didn't, but we now know that they do because of Nicobine and FE Core and JBoss. They have all shown us also now that microwave beams don't need actual line of sight, that they can also bend around the curvature. And that, think of all these new applications of microwaves now that we know that they can wrap around solid objects and line of sight is no longer required. So again, flat earthers made an amazing discovery that everything just wraps around the curvature to present a false flat earth. This was here's that magical, those what do you call it, the microwave dishes that can communicate without actually having line of sight because of great technology that the flat earthers have shown that is possible. Here's something else that flat earthers did. We now know that we have to change all the Navy manuals because Before, Navy manuals never mentioned the fact that you have to be wary about shooting the mirages, because in this case, that this boat's going to end up shooting the big bulge of water that's in between it and those ships. But now we know that because of flat earthers that we need to change that, because those are actually mirages back there, that we need to actually change the Navy manuals to warn them about shooting at anything that could be hidden behind the curvature, even though it looks like it's not. I think that's an important discovery. Another discovery for flat earthers is that professionals, for some reason, airline pilots, military professionals, radar operators, gunners, missile operators, engineers, commercial surveyors, and many more all state that there is no accounting for the curvature or the Earth's rotation in any manner. Again, I never knew that until the flat earthers came around. So thank heavens for flat earthers for giving us some new ideas about how the world actually operates, because that's pretty amazing that no professionals actually have to account for the curvature. Another fascinating one was the fact that the 8 inches per mile squared, that I never knew about that the Earth actually dropped to 8 inches per mile squared until the flat earthers come around. Another amazing discovery, and the fact that airplanes can actually automatically adjust for the 8 inches per mile squared without making any adjustments. Another amazing discovery from flat earthers. How about the fact that satelloons are real? I mean, before flat Earth, did any of you know about satelloons? I mean, I never knew about these things, but thank heavens for flat earthers for showing us that for a long time, for whatever reason, we never knew about these satellites that hang from balloons. But I thank heavens for the flat earthers to come around and show us that actually happens. Now, what about the this is a big one, the Coriolis effect. I mean, think about how the Coriolis effect, we always thought that Coriolis applied to everything, but it turns out that the Coriolis effect only applies to snipers and toilets, but has no effect on east-west airplane flights, high-altitude balloons, or even shooting a bull up in the air. Felix Baumgartner took 2.5 hours to get up to his altitude, and the Coriolis effect had zero impact on Felix Baumgartner. Amazing new aspects of the Coriolis effect that we Ball Earthers had no idea about. Thank heavens for the flat earthers to point that out. What about the inverse square law of light? That's another fascinating one. Is now we know the inverse square law of light doesn't apply to anything in space. So, wow, amazing discovery by the flat earthers. This was a big one. Who knew that the moonlight was cool until the flat earthers came around and showed us, hey, wait a second, moonlight is actually cool light. I mean, what the hell is up with that? But again, the flat earthers discovered that moonlight is cool. I mean, wow, we could base whole classes in our university based on why made up reasons why the moonlight is cool. I actually have about 30 more of these.
This is great, Ben. Keep going, buddy.
The only thing I have to say so far is I thought flat earthers weren't really looking for the truth.
That's right. Nope. No, we're just in it for the super chats and money.
You forget how many of us, thanks to the flat earth, we are with a girlfriend.
There you go.
Man, thanks to flat earth for the love.
You thanks God every day.
Of course, man. and so many other things,
Okay, well, another amazing discovery from the flat earthers is the fact that no matter how much the earth changes in motion, some extraordinary force makes it so that we never feel anything or can measure or detect any sort of this changing in motions. It doesn't matter, that the angular, that we're just like the example from Dave Marsh, pointed that out. We now know that for a fact that the gravity somehow adjusts and keeps us all, makes it all work out so that we don't actually feel or detect anything. Another amazing discovery from the flat earthers. What about, the big discovery from mechanical gyroscopes, that flat earthers realized that they do retain rigidity in space, except that they do automatically also adjust for the curvature and axial rotation. We now know that flat earthers pointed that out, and thank heavens for them, because now we know that they automatically adjust for airplanes and stuff, and so we don't have to worry about that anymore. Here was one for, another flat earthers. They discovered that, some satellites hang from wires. I mean, I think that's an important discovery from flat earthers because, you know, we need to know that NASA has to use wires to hold up some of its satellites up in space. I mean, that's a huge discovery for flat earthers. I mean, I always thought the satellites would just somehow magically stay up there, but they don't. They don't. They actually have to be held up by a wire. So now we know.
Sorry. That's just a video.
I'm sorry, I don't have enough time to get all the videos in line, but you know, like on the moon landings, you already showed that video, but we now know that the moon includes a strange vertical wall that looks like a movie backdrop, and always has a horizon line that looks like the end of a stage. We now know that the moon has these backdrop-looking features, so. That's amazing. I mean, I think we have to admit that as globe supporters that the flat earthers figured that out. How about this one? How about the flat earthers figured out that all flames are invisible in space? I mean, I thought that at least that the fire from the ascent stages of the Apollo missions would actually leave some sort of light when they blasted off or some sort of flame. But thank heavens, flat earthers corrected us. They don't need light or flames or anything. They just go up very smooth.
That video you made, Ben, with talk about the flames, it's so funny. At the end, it's like, yeah, let's see if they're right. They get the same fuel. It's like with smoke. Oh my God! Did you skip over the scuba diver in this?
In the suit.
Yeah, I would have thought that the flat earthers figured out that there's actually scuba divers up in space. I mean, we need a flat earthers to point that one out. That NASA has
and the bubbles
scuba divers up there.
Yeah, bubbles can change directions in space.
And Jaron, you've been wrong all this time. That they have the scuba divers up there in space. I mean, they practice with scuba divers up in the water because they actually have them up there in space helping the astronauts.
It could be. Yeah, I haven't thought about that. The other thing, though, I noticed that you put out a video that reminded me that lemons are see-through. I didn't know that we could put our hand right through lemons, so that's good to know. I'm going to try that later today.
It's also good to know, guys, that the thermosphere is not hot. I mean, Google will tell you it's 4,000 degrees, but it's not hot. I mean, metals can get through it, no problem. So don't pay attention.
That's a great discovery of the flat earthers.
Yeah, excellent discovery from the flat earthers. And the flat earthers discovered that we don't have a 3-body mass equation. So all these predictions that the globe model allegedly make are really just hijacked from the flat earthers. I think that's a great discovery that the flat earthers made. So,
well, here's another big one. Unfortunately, I don't have the video up right now, but flat earthers figured out that rockets don't actually go straight up into the air to get into space. They actually arc and look like they fall back down. I mean, sure, the altimeters of those rockets don't do that, but show that effect. But flat earthers figured out that the way to get to space is to arc back down and fall back down towards the ocean, and that is the way to get back into space. That was amazing.
Turn into
discovery.
CGI as well.
Yeah. And another thing that the flat earthers figured out was that the Challenger astronauts are all okay. I mean, I was very sad as a child when I watched all those astronauts blow up, but the flat earthers figured out that they're still alive. We have to thank the flat earthers for figuring that one out. How about the fact that good times for all, sky free, and life is short? All discovered that objects disappear from the bottom up without any curvature. Thank you for all of those people that are doing that and proving that on a. I mean, we ball earthers never knew about that until they came around, and those flat earthers.
And letters for 2 cents. Let's send letters for 2 cents from a flat earther. I know him. His name is Jera, something like that. Yeah.
That doesn't work though for you down in Argentina.
No,
sorry.
Man. No, we have everything expensive for us here. Okay, even $2 cents is expensive.
It's Aero. You can still make your own cigarettes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's at least, and I follow the advice from Jeran, and I have my own water distiller, and I really recommended that. Yeah, I learned so much from you, Jeran. Thank you so much for being a flat earther, man.
Did you really get a distiller, Iru?
Yes, my girlfriend helped me to buy it. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. I combined it, and this is talking serious. I combined it with water from the sea. For add the minerals, and because I'm used the therapy from salt water from the sea, okay, from the ocean, not putting salt into water, regular water. So I remineralize with ocean seawater, and that's perfect. I drink that every day.
You mean you just didn't pee in it, Ira?
No, that technique. I don't know if I'm gonna follow you. Maybe you can talk. You can talk with Dave.
Another time.
With Dave.
Okay, just check.
I am not going to do the surname. But,
Not there yet.
Dave Murphy followed that kind of technique.
Hey Ben, because of flat earthers, we learned that you can compress flat tables and see curvature. So that was pretty interesting.
Oh yeah, those Jaren's finding.
Yeah, good stuff, Jaren. So that's a great one.
And the flat earthers helped us realize that the only time ever in the history of all observable phenomena that gas doesn't need a physical container is the atmosphere.
Yeah, there's only one place you can find it, and that's our atmosphere. That is an amazing discovery of the flat earthers. I mean, how in the world gravity solves that? I think we need about 10 courses at the university to figure that one out, because that's pretty amazing. Here's a historical one for the history department. For some reason, there were no globes since 1492, even though everyone supposedly knew it was a globe for thousands of years. I mean, that's a fascinating little fact that the flat earthers figured out. I mean, and they also figured out that Columbus was a piss poor navigator, because he should have known that he was 9,000 miles short of the Indian Ocean when he called those the people there in the Bahamas Indians. I mean, if he knew that the Earth was already had a circumference of 24,901 miles, she was 9,000 miles away from the Indian Ocean. So we know that Columbus was an imbecile as well. So thanks to the flat earthers.
Hey Ben, I have a new one also. Captain Axiom of the Iron Guild, thanks for the super chat, says flat earthers also discovered that giant mice can survive in the vacuum of space as long as they stay on top of the thruster rocker. Shout out to Nate. That's a good one.
So here's another one. The flat earthers discovered that the government is hiding something in Antarctica. I mean, we know it's not to hide the flat Earth, but we do know that they're at least not they're preventing people from traveling independently below the 60th south parallel for some reason. Must be cool. Go ahead.
And make poo-poo in Antarctica can cost you $1 million, and that was discovered by a flat earther. Not because a flat earther make poo-poo on Antarctica, but because the flat earther like to research before test.
Oh, here's an amazing discovery by Jaron, that crazy flat earther. He discovered that Devon Island in Canada looks a lot like Mars. That was a good one. It's just amazing that NASA found a spot on Earth that looks just like Mars to practice driving around a small cart that looks just like the lunar rover. So we got to hand it to Jaron for figuring that one out.
Cosmic coincidence. That's a Nobel Prize. That's another Nobel Prize.
Okay, this will be my last one. The entire solar system and all comets, meteors, and everything else are tied together with gravity rubber bands that hold it all together as it rockets through space, and it's what enables all this tabular performance to keep repeating, even though everything's supposedly shooting at millions of miles per hour. Thank heavens to these Einstein gravity rubber bands that keep it all together. And so just another amazing discovery by flat earthers. And I just think we as honest, good, true globe supporters need to recognize these amazing discoveries from moving forward. But there you go. That's my little presentation.
But I want to believe that I'm flying through space at 2.2 million miles per hour. I want to believe it. I want to believe it so bad. It sounds like so much fun. I mean, I know how fast my car is, 60 miles per hour, roller coaster at 80 miles per hour. I just want to be rocketing through space at 2.2 million miles per hour around an endless vacuum. I need it.
No doubt. I mean, it's better than flying rockets there if we could just fly the Earth there, right? Crazy. Ben, that was priceless, man.
Okay.
Alrighty then.
There's hundreds more.